Welcome to the second video of Blazor WASM on Nginx from zero to release. On this video we are going to install .Net, create a simple ASP.NET MVC application and deploy this application on Nginx. Right, let's get on with it then. Let me remove the desktop background. Oops, wrong one. There we go. The first thing that we are going to do is to install .Net. I'm just going to visit Microsoft's site and follow the instructions that are there. Let me just search this online. This is just a copy paste exercise. Okay, everything seems to be working fine. Let's create our first application. I'm going to create a simple MVC application. Let's execute the application to see if it's running fine. Oops, Control C does not seem to be a good idea. There you go. So our application is just working as expected. Okay. Next step is to publish the application. And I'm going to publish that application into a folder that will be kind of like our production server folder, and it's going to be the folder that I'm later going to configure Nginx to listen to. One thing to keep in mind is that the Nginx runs as a username www.data, and this user belongs to a group with the same name, www.data. I previously added my user to that group so I could test the permissions, and now I'm going to make that group the owner of our, let's call it, production folder. This, for a real production server, might not be the best idea. Just think well in terms of permissions when you deploy your stuff into a real production server. But for now, let's just go with that. Now, what's... Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Oh, sorry, my brain just had a small hiccup here. Why would I think that adding the user as the owner would have any impact? I need to change the permission. I need to give write access to this group. Now everything should work fine. Right, now let's do a .NET publish onto our folder that we just created, /mvc app. And if we go into that folder, we should see our files there. And there we can execute MVC test, which is our application name. And we see that it's still working as before, but now it's deployed. Once again, let's just check that everything is green. It's important to disable cache just in case something is cached. Okay. Now let's check the status of our Nginx. Seems to be running fine. Great. Now we deploy the application. usually the applications on a production server won't be listening to localhost, right? They will be listening to mvcapp.com or anything, a domain. As this is a local server, we don't have a domain per se, so I'm going to add a domain on our host file. So that pseudo domain will be pointing to our local machine. And now I can actually use that domain mvcapp.local. And you see that is actually coming to Nginx. Now this is the default Nginx application. I want to see our new application, the MVC app that we just created. But for that, we have to create a site on Nginx. We only have this default. And basically this default is responding to any request done to Nginx. So I'm going to create a copy of this default, call it mvcapp.local. I also have a user group called web server admin, to which I also added my own user. And I'm going to make that that group the owner of this site, right? So then I can just edit without always being doing this sudo stuff. Again, it might not be a good idea in a production server, so just bear in mind. I have to also give write permissions to that file. Let's do a 764. I need to execute the file. Can edit the file directly from feather path. Just going to clean a lot of these commented lines over here. Now our server name is called mvcapp.local. That's our server name. Nginx site will behave as a proxy to our application, where I have to add here in the location that all the requests coming into this site are actually proxied to this URL, https localhost on port 5001. Okay, let's restart Nginx. And let's see if it works. Boom. Oh, it's still pointing to the default site. And this is because I created it in sites available. This is also something that usually people might face problems with. The fact that we create a site in sites available does not make it enabled. So it's not yet used by Nginx. It's just there. In order to be used by Nginx, we have to create a symlink in the sites enable folder. So that's what I'm gonna do now. And restart Nginx again. Oh, we have an error here. So to see what is going on, we have to, and you see that we just took down all Nginx. So to see what is going on, we have to execute nginx-t. This will test Nginx and tell us what's wrong. Oh, default server, duplicate default server, right. So that we created the copy, we did not remove this default server thingy up here. And now it should be fine. And let's restart again. There, it's no longer a default site, but we still have an error. This is because localhost is not running, so the site that we are proxied onto is not running. We have to execute it. Let's just do that. All right. Now the site is running. Whoa, something is not right here. This is something that we're going to look at. Might be one of the things that people might run into. And as you can see, we are proxying the site correctly, but we are still not getting all the resources, JavaScript and CSS and all that. Okay, now you see that we have 404s here. Let's let's clear all this so we can look at what is going on. All right, so let's run the site again. we have to take a look up here. The content root path is our home directory because that's where we are executing our app. And that's why it's not getting the files because we are not in the right folder. Now if we go into where we have our application, you'll see that our content root is actually the production folder. And now we get all greens. Alright, now on to Nginx. All these static files, actually Nginx can handle them for us directly. We don't need to proxy that request over to our application. Nginx can just do that for us. So we just add another location within the same server that will basically say that, hey, I can provide all the CSS, all the lib, all the JS, and the 5 icon. Now the root. Now keep in mind that we want the static files directly, so our root is actually www root, and I just don't want to log access. I want HTTP cache turned on. Alright, let's restart Nginx. So I'm going to start the application again from our root folder. This will show that it's actually Nginx that is providing the files and not our app. Oh, what is wrong? 404. Let me check the file, the site here. It's actually not being proxied. Actually, it's not being handled by Nginx. It's being handled by our application. Why is that? Oh, yeah. There you go. All right. And the application is working as before, but now the static files are being provided by Nginx. And let's check that they are actually being cached. And there you go. And are cached. Good. And expires. All right. And of course, just to double check that when we are running just our application, it is not providing the files. So it seems to be all good now. So that's it. That is it. Our MVC application is running. So this shows us that .NET is working fine on Linux and our Nginx is actually working fine. So let's move on to the next video. See you soon.